Hi class, this is the first video of the chemistry topic, and in the future possibly I will be doing more frequent videos like this. So for that reason, if you have any internet connection issue or you have something else that you need to do at our chemistry lesson schedule, you can always refer back to the video. Today we will be reviewing our chapter 11. I will be asking a few questions, and if you need time to answer that or you want to refer to your previous notes, you are more than welcome to pause the video, revert it, answer it, and resume the video at any time you're done. Let's go to our first question. Two metals, iron and copper, have different reactivity. Iron is more reactive than copper. Which metal does tend to corrode? Okay. The keyword is corrode, and iron is more reactive. Corrode is a type of reaction. Corrosion is reaction with the presence of oxygen and water. So, because we know that iron is more reactive, then the metal that does tend to corrode is, for sure, is iron. And for the second question, because of its reactivity, sodium metal should be stored in paraffin oil. Assuming that there is no presence of moisture, write the chemical reaction that sodium can undergo in air. When we have air, the component in air that will react with the sodium will be oxygen, only oxygen. When the sodium is reacting with oxygen, it will produce the oxide of sodium, that is sodium oxide. Are we done? Not yet, because we need to balance the equation. We have 2 oxygen on the left, means that we need to have 2 oxygen on the right. We have 4 sodium on the left, on the right, and therefore we need to have 4 sodium on the left as well. Okay, let's proceed to the next question. A hypothetical metal, hypothenium, symbol Hi, belongs to the same group with sodium. What is the name and formula of the product when the metal is reacted against oxygen? The keyword is same group with sodium. Means that hypothenium is also a reactive metal. When reacted against oxygen, for sure it will form the similar type of compound. It will form the hypothenium oxide. That's a hypothenium oxide with the formula of Hi2O. Done. Now, the next question. In general, which one is more reactive group of metal? Alkali metals or earth alkaline metals, and why? So alkali metals or group 1, I will use the normal group 1, or group 2. The answer is group 1 will be more reactive. Why? It's simply because we know that to react, the metal should lose its electron. Alkali metals only have one electrons. It only have one electrons, one valence electron. And because of that, it is easier. It only needs to lose one. Comparing that with the group 2, that all of them, they have two valence electron, means that to be able to react, it needs to lose both of its valence electron, which does require extra energy. Therefore, group 1 is more reactive. Next question. It's rather long. The reaction of four metals with oxygen is observed. Metal A shows a minor reaction when the metal is heated in oxygen. Metal B does not show any reaction in oxygen. Metal C immediately reacting when exposed to oxygen. Metal D, when powderized, the metal reacts vigorously with oxygen. It is known that silver, tin, aluminum, and sodium are used. Assign each of the metal to metal A to metal D. Now, to make it easy, we can compare the four metals based on their reactivity. We can arrange them from the most reactive to the least reactive. We know that based on the information, obviously, metal C is the most reactive as it immediately reacting when exposed. And the metal B is the least reactive. So we can say that it's the order it's C, and then the last one is B. Metal A, there's a reaction, a minor reaction. Metal D, there's a vigorous reaction, but it needs to be powderized. So we know that both metals, they're less reactive than metal C, but more reactive than metal D. Which one is which? The keyword here is, metal D is still able to perform a vigorous reaction, while metal A only show a minor reaction. Therefore, C, D, A, and B. Now we have four metals: silver, tin, aluminum, and sodium. Which one is the most reactive? Sodium is the most reactive. Then we know that C is sodium. And the least reactive is the noble metal, that is silver. Now between tin and aluminum, we know that aluminum is more reactive than tin. So D is aluminum and A is tin. And there you have it. You assign all the metal for each letter. Let's go to the next question. And now this is the reaction with water. What is the reaction between sodium metal and water? When sodium reacts with water, it will give us sodium hydroxide and hydrogen ion. What is the correct way to write this? You can write it as this. You can ionize them, or you can just simply state as NaOH. Either way, it's fine. Now, all we need to do is to balance it out. And to balance it out, just add the 2, 2, and 2. So we have 2 sodium on both sides, 4 hydrogen, and 2 oxygen on each side. Next question. Both sodium and magnesium react with water to give similar product. What are their difference in their reaction? Well, what is their difference in their reaction? As we know, sodium is one of the most reactive metal. Is magnesium reactive? Yes, they're still reactive, but not as reactive to sodium. So sodium can react with cold water while magnesium reacts with warm or hot water. Next question. Aluminum also reacts with water, but it is known that aluminum is less reactive than both sodium and magnesium. What is the reaction? Again, we know that aluminum reacts with water, but this is where a little bit of memorization is involved. Not all metals that reacts with water gives hydroxide. Less reactive metal tends to form oxide when it's reacted with water. That is why when we dip iron into the water and we leave it for quite a while, it will form a rust, which is some sort of iron oxide. So it will also form the oxide of aluminum, which is aluminum oxide, Al2O3. And it's still not balanced. We need to balance it out by adding some hydrogen gas. So how do we balance it out? We have 2 aluminum, we have 3 oxygen, and now we have 6 hydrogen. And there you have it, the balanced reaction between aluminum and water. What are the reaction when magnesium is dissolved in nitric acid? Say that a salt and a gas is being produced. What is the reaction? Okay, when magnesium is dissolved in nitric acid, we have also covered that in the acid-base reaction. Nitric acid is HNO3, and definitely it will give us MgNO3 plus H2. To balance it out, add the 2 in front of the HNO3. Very good. Next, 2 metals with different reactivity are observed in a chemical reaction. It is known that metal A is less reactive than metal B. And there are 2 a reaction A plus plus B, B plus plus A. Which of the two reactions are plausible to be performed? Metal A is less reactive than metal B. We know that metal B is more reactive. And with that in mind, we can also say that metal B tends to form the metal ion. So the ion, the metal B ion, should be produced. When we have metal B, it tends to form the metal ion. So the reaction goes to the right. Meanwhile, for the reaction, the bottom reaction, we know that it tends to form the metal ion, and in this case, there's no such thing because it prefers to be in ion form. It will not undergo the second reaction. So which of the two reactions are plausible to be performed? The top reaction. Okay. The last question of the first video series that I will be uploading is this. The displacement reaction of 4 metal ions are observed in the table below. Arrange the reactivity of the metal in increasing order. And also another one is fill up the blank after we have got that. Okay, what can we deduce when we have this table? There are metal and there are metal ion. Some of the reaction occurs, some does not have any type of reaction. So when the reaction occurs, if we refer back to the previous question, we know that we want the metal to be more reactive than the metal ion. To conduct the reaction, the metal should be more reactive than the metal ion. We want the metal to be more reactive than the metal ion so that the reaction can take place. The first reaction occurs. Then we know that Mn is more reactive than the Cr. The second reaction, Cu and Cr2 plus does not have any reaction. So from this we know that Cr is more reactive than Cu, or Cu is less reactive than Cr, Cr is more reactive than Cu. From the third reaction, third and fourth reaction also occurs. We know that Cr is more reactive than Sn. Sn is more reactive than Cu. So we can write it as increasing order. So from least to most. So we know that manganese is the most reactive out of the four. Manganese is most reactive. Then Cr is the second most reactive. And then we have Sn and Cu. The first part of the question is done. Now we just need to fill up the remaining two. Sn and Mn. Sn is less reactive than Mn, therefore it will not give any reaction. And the last one, Mn, is the most reactive out of the four, therefore for sure we can observe the reaction, and the reaction occurs. Okay, these are the questions for your review. If you are struggling and you find that you are making quite a lot of mistake in this set of question, you can ask me and you can discuss with me, and I will see you in the next opportunity. Thank you, guys. Cheers.